You can't just land a helicopter in a residential neighborhood, Linda shrieked, her HOA badge flapping wildly as she pushed through the crowd. The chopper's rotor wind turned her hair into a chaotic whirlwind as my friend Nick stepped out in full marine dress blues, cradling a rack of ribs like it was a sacred relic. Kids cheered, a brass band blared, and the fire pit, the spark of this whole showdown, roared triumphantly in my backyard, fully legal and blazing with purpose. Linda had no clue what she'd unleashed, but then again, she never bothered with the details. It all kicked off 6 weeks earlier on a bright Saturday morning, the air thick with the scent of cedar chips and barbecue dreams. I just finished setting the final stone around my new fire pit, a sturdy, simple tribute to my fallen Marine brother Matt. Built by hand, it stood next to my smoker grill, already whispering promises of brisket. Country music played softly, a cold beer rested in my grip, and for the first time in ages I felt at peace. Then a gleaming black SUV rolled up, too pristine for a rugged suburban VYB. Out stepped Linda, not just any Linda, the Linda HOA president, self-proclaimed guardian of order, and Joy's sworn enemy. She wore an iron VY sword and clutched a clipboard like it was her scepter. No hello, no smile, just a march straight into my yard like she owned it. "Excuse me," she snapped, eyeing the fire pit like it had insulted her lineage. "That's not allowed." I blinked. "Say what?" "Open flames are banned by HOA rules," she said, flipping through her papers like a preacher with a Bible. "No fire pits, no smokers, no uncontrolled outdoor fires." I glanced at the pit, then her. "It's controlled. Stone-built, fireproof base, extinguishers ready." She squinted. "Doesn't matter. Rules are rules." I forced a grin, though my jaw tightened. I read the bylaws when I moved in. Nothing about fire pits. She tapped her clipboard. Clause 4B.2, subsection F VY soil contaminants and hazardous fixtures. Hazardous? I nearly laughed. "Lady, I ran combat patrols in Kandahar. If you think this is hazardous, you might faint at a campfire." Linda wasn't amused. 48 hours to remove it or fine start. She spun on her sensible shoes and left, trailing sanctimony behind her. I stood there stunned, staring at the pit, a quiet circle of stone that meant more than she'd ever grasp. It wasn't just for burgers, it was for Matt. We'd met in boot camp, served VY-Vet 2 tours, and laughed over fire pits like this one. He didn't make it back. Sniper fire took him on a routine patrol. His last words to me? "When we're out, we'll build fire pits, drink beer, live like old dogs." I kept that promise. No way was I tearing it down over Linda's vendetta. That night, I sat by the fire with a drink, studying the HOA rules like a battle plan. Then I found it. Clause 7.1, communal cooking installations allowed for cultural or memorial events with notice and approval. Jackpot. They'd banned fire pits but left a loophole big enough for a pig roast as long as it was an event. And nobody did events like Marines. Next morning I submitted my request. A Marine Corps Heritage Cookout honoring fallen brothers, complete with a menu, guest list, and a flag ceremony. I threw in some fake military jargon for flair. Linda signed off, probably picturing a quiet sobfest. She was about to meet the full force of Operation Smokeout. I called Nick, a pilot buddy now in private contracting. "Need a favor, airlift and barbecue." He laughed. "For real? Dead serious. It's an HOA thing." He whistled. "Count me in." Over 2 weeks, I rallied the crew, Marines, locals, vets, setting up grills, tents, even a Marine jazz band. Linda had no idea what was coming, and thanks to her signature, she couldn't stop it. The night before, I stood in my yard, flags up, fire pit glowing, a plaque with Matt's name in the center. "Hope you're watching, brother," I whispered, raising my glass. "Tomorrow, we bring the heat." The HOA's approval came with a bland note about noise rules. Linda likely thought it'd be old guys and potato salad. She'd unleashed a suburban legend instead. I kicked into gear, calling Tony, a retired logistics guy turned barbecue supplier. Soon my garage overflowed with brisket, ribs, and wood chips. My neighbor Sam, usually a recluse, peeked over the fence. "Starting a restaurant?" "Nah, honoring a friend." He nodded, then returned the next day with homemade beer and a battleship-sized smoker. Another ally joined the ranks. Word spread. Marines, neighbors, vets, they all signed up, drawn by the band and whispers of a chopper. Linda snooped around, clipboard in tow, but found nothing to cite. 3 days out, I briefed the team in my garage roles, traffic plans, cooking stations. Nick confirmed the helicopter's landing in a field just outside HOA turf legal, triple-checked. Linda couldn't touch it. The plan? Nick would swoop in, hover, land, and deliver ribs marine style. The night before, Linda tried a last-ditch stand while viewing neon-highlighted papers. This isn't a Cookout aircraft. It's outside your line, I said. FAA and county approved. She fumed. This is a circus. It's a tribute. You signed it. She stormed off, vowing to watch. I grinned. She always did. Sunrise brought the crowd, Marines, families, vets saluting flags and grabbing ribs. I lit the pit with Matt's old Zippo, smoke rising like a beacon. By noon it was chaos, beautiful chaos. Linda stood on the curb, clipboard up, but everything was airtight. I handed her a sandwich. Eat fast. Why? Then it hit the thump of rotors. Nick's chopper crested the hill, hovered, and landed. He stepped out, ribs in hand, saluting. The crowd roared, the band played, Linda's visor flew off. She'd lost and we were just warming up. The helicopter drop was a freedom bomb, cheers, salutes, kids gaping. Nick handed me the ribs. Package delivered. Napkins and forks spun skyward as the chopper lifted off. Linda stood frozen, jaw slack, as the band hit patriotic highs and vets swapped tales over smoked duck. At 3 p.m., I gathered everyone for Matt's tribute. He loved duty, brotherhood, and slow-smoked ribs, I said, voice steady. Laughter broke the quiet. This fire's for remembering, healing, and maybe a bourbon-soaked marshmallow. Taps played, the flag rose, and even some board members teared up. Linda marched off mid-applause. The party roared back, cornhole, beer, blues rock. When Nick's chopper returned at dusk, Linda reappeared in a safety vest with a fire marshal, Tom. Shut it down, she barked. Tom inspected the pit, shrugged. Safest setup I've seen. All clear. The crowd cheered as Linda retreated, muttering about complaints. Nick yelled, who wants a ride? Even Linda paused. Monday, the neighborhood bus chats, pies, plans. Linda, though, mailed violation stacks fines for flags, smoke, footwear. She targeted everyone. I called my lawyer, Jack, a gravel-voiced Marine. She's toast, he said. We met in Sam's garage, 22 strong, plotting a no-confidence vote. Linda filed a wild injunction, paramilitary meets, but in court, Jack dismantled her. The judge tossed it, and our vote ousted her 84 fan tram. Sam took over, and we celebrated like it was Independence Day. The new HOA rewrote the rules, reasonable, human. I hosted a final cookout, no spectacle, just thanks. Sam unveiled a plaque. In memory of those who served. Let no fire be extinguished by fear. It hit hard for Matt, for us all. Linda watched from her fence, silent, then slipped away. The fire glowed low, and with Nick and Sam, I felt purpose-earned, simple, real. That pit started as a tribute, became a weapon, and ended as what it was always meant to be, a heart for a neighborhood reborn.